Statistics show the state of California has the largest proportion of people living without shelter in the country, and Santa Barbara is not immune to the challenges of addressing this humanitarian crisis. Santa Barbara police officers say the issue here is consistent with other California cities, but the collaboration efforts and partnerships and action on the Central Coast have other communities taking note.
The homeless crisis is a delicate issue that demands involvement of both the public and private sectors. For the Santa Barbara Police Department, the enforcement posture primarily centers around outreach.
We're partners with many community-based organizations. Our officers do everything they can to try to be there for everybody in every way. It's a difficult societal question, but hear me clearly, we're here to enforce legal laws and standards in that respect, and the officers do that to the best of their ability every day.
Advocates estimate that there are between 1,600 and 1,700 people experiencing homelessness in Santa Barbara County.
35% of all homeless individuals in Santa Barbara County are living in their vehicles.
The vehicular homeless population represents a group facing unique circumstances, dealing with very specific financial needs.
They often are people who are without housing for the first time, and they are afraid of going to a shelter, or they hold a job and they're unable to meet the curfews that are consistent with being at a shelter, or they have a pet, or they want to keep their family together, and so they decide to essentially car camp and hope that they will transition quickly back into housing.
In 2014, an appeals court in Los Angeles found a municipal code similar to a law on the books in Santa Barbara banning car habitation to be illegal.
There are certain rules that we still enforce, such as parking enforcement rules or littering or unlawful dumping of waste, but primarily when it comes to somebody living in their vehicle, we try and provide them different resources that we have available in our community to provide them more consistent and safer areas for them to park.
The police department, oftentimes we get that initial call for service, but what we've learned over the years is that we're somewhat limited in what our response can be. And sometimes we're not the best tool for that job, so to speak. And so our ability to leverage all these other partners within our community who focus in certain areas, can provide resources, helps us alleviate the issue, I think, in the short term, but also really develop a long-term strategy for how to mitigate some of the issues that come up when we're dealing with homelessness, vehicular or otherwise.
And when you're talking about resources and community partnerships pertaining to the issue, the Safe Parking program at New Beginnings is the gold standard in Santa Barbara and beyond.
We are considered the original Safe Parking program. We have the only manual that helps people begin a program. And so we receive requests weekly from communities across the country who are looking for technical assistance in setting up their own program. For example, we have a group coming from New York at the end of October to get a 3-day training in terms of how to open their own program.
Utilizing private and public parking lots around the city that require a permit for somebody to reside in their vehicle.
It provides them a consistent area to be in close proximity of other resources, and it helps them basically not get inundated with unnecessary contact from law enforcement. Our partnership with them really helps the Santa Barbara Police Department reduce the number of calls for service for non-criminal type nature and allows officers to spend more time on other investigations.
New Beginnings Executive Director stresses that this is not an encampment or alternative lifestyle.
It is simply an alternative to shelter while at a time while people are in a really critical place. And we are able to provide the case management, the financial resources, and the quick interventions that are necessary to help people transition as quickly as possible out of that situation.
As one of many parts of the solution, a spoke in the societal wheel, police say they have an obligation to public safety, and that includes everybody.
What we've really seen over the last few years is just an increased ability to solve these issues from kind of a collaborative standpoint, as opposed to just doing it from silos and where we work, police department versus New Beginnings versus, we're all collectively working together to help solve these issues. And we all have a role to play in that.
If you want to know more about the New Beginnings Safe Parking program, visit the website on your screen.